Hello everyone, the Snowman here, and today I've got another tennis instructional video all about tennis racket stringing and string tension. We'll go over the different kinds of materials that you can get for your strings and the pros and cons of each. I also want to hit on the effects of having a higher or lower string tension and what that means for your racket in terms of power, control, spin, and other variables like that. Basically all the essentials in terms of tennis racket stringing and the customization that goes along with your racket. Let's start by talking about the four main types of materials that tennis racket strings are constructed with. We've got synthetic gut, which is nylon based enclosed by one or more wraps. Number two is multi-filament, made up of hundreds of nylon microfibers wound together. We also have natural gut, which is made from the fibrous and stretchy serous membrane of cow intestines. And the fourth type, polyester, which is a polyester based monofilament. If you're just starting out, not sure which string you need, synthetic gut is a great place to begin. Synthetic gut provides a relatively easy learning curve and is a quality all-around choice for beginners. It also has great value, very economically priced. The only downside is that synthetic gut is just average in terms of overall performance. There's nothing extraordinary about it, so once you start to improve your game and grow more comfortable on the court, you might want to move off this value brand starter string. The second string type, multi-filament, is essentially a more affordable alternative to natural gut, which we'll talk about in a sec. Multi-filament strings use super pliable synthetic fibers to help absorb impact shock and load the ball with power. So that's one of the major positives of multi-filament. Softer on the arm, not as violent on your tendons and joints. It also has excellent playability and good tension maintenance. The negative is that you have slightly less control with multi-filament. It is a bit more about power compared to control. These strings also provide less durability, especially for heavy hitters. There's not much bad to say about our third string type, natural gut. It's an iconic string type that's been around for centuries. No other material can match its elasticity, power, and unrivaled comfort. Natural gut also tends to retain its tension for longer, so you don't have to get it restrung or switch rackets as frequently. In terms of the pros, natural gut is top shelf with overall playability. Again, it's got superb tension maintenance, good arm comfort as well, and natural gut remains playable even at high tension levels. You can really ratchet up the tension for control and spin purposes without compromising comfort. The only real con is that natural gut will be the most expensive choice out there. There's certainly a price to be paid for the elite enhancements that natural gut doles out to rackets worldwide. Finally, we have polyester strings, which are typically used by more experienced players. These strings have a rigid and stiff monofilament construction, which gives strong players extra control to swing bigger without the fear of overhitting. Polyester strings are generally too firm and underpowered for beginners, but awesome at producing tons of control and spin while also being a very durable option. The negative to polyester is that aforementioned lack of power. Because of that, this material also a bit harsher on the arm and it loses tension faster than other materials, but still a fine choice for seasoned veterans looking to play a certain way. Those are the different materials that racket strings are constructed from. Let's talk quickly about string gauges. Gauges are essentially the thickness of a string. The higher the gauge is, the thinner your string is. Likewise, the lower the gauge, the thicker the string. Unfortunately, there's not really a universal or standard chart, so different tennis brands measure in different ways. That's why it's best to just reference the actual millimeter sizing, but in general, thinner strings will provide more power and spin, while thicker strings will give you more control and durability. Next, I want to touch on string tension. The tension is referring to how tightly the strings are strung in your racket. It's measured by pounds of tension, with the average tension being about 50 to 57 pounds. And if you're a beginner, I'd recommend starting around 55 pounds, and then as you play more, you can judge whether you need to go up or down a few pounds. Lower string tensions between 40 to 50 pounds are more difficult to control. However, they provide you with much more power, more spin and feel, more durability too. With a lighter string tension, it's easier to step into shots and blast them past your opponents with power. On the other hand, higher string tensions between 58 and 65 pounds have less power and spin quotients, but they can greatly benefit the precise player. With a heavier string tension, it's easier to hit targets and place shots past your opponents with extreme precision. So again, lower tension equals more power and higher tension equals more control. And if you're wondering how often you should be restringing your rackets, they do lose tension every time you play, so a good general rule of thumb for recreational players is that you restring as many times in a year as you play in a week. So for example, if you play tennis about 4 times a week, you probably want to restring 4 times in a year. If you only play about once a week, then you can likely get by stringing just once a year. Obviously, competitive players should probably stick to a stricter restringing schedule. Also, if you use polyester strings, as I mentioned before, those rackets lose tension at a bit faster rate, so you'll have to restring more frequently to maintain ideal tension in a polyester strung racket. Thanks a lot for watching my tennis racket stringing explained video. Hope you learned something about string tension or about your racket in general. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more tennis content and instructional as well as preview videos. And I should be back very soon. New videos every week. Thanks a lot. Cheers.